Hey, sports fans, grab your clubs and join the action at the Hockey Day Minnesota Golf Classic powered by PNC Bank. It happens August 12th at the Classic at Madden's Resort in Brainerd. Enjoy 18 holes of golf on one of Minnesota's premier courses, plus a cookout dinner to cap off the big day. You'll also have the chance to meet and mingle with special guests from the Gopher men's and women's hockey teams. Don't miss this great day of golf, hockey, and Minnesota fun. Gather your foursome and register now at hockeydaymn.com. That's hockeydaymn.com. We'll see you at the course.
Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. It is beautiful outside and hot, so we're going to talk tennis. We have Kate Jonas with us. She's going to be a senior at UW Superior, but she is so much more than just a tennis player. She is one of 30 that have been selected for USTA's program that we're going to dive into, where they teach young players to become professional coaches. It's quite an honor, and I can't wait to dive on in.
That's right. This is Dawn of Sports. She's Dawn Mitchell from Fox 9. As you just heard, we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. We have so many great shows at talknorth.com right now, including Weathering Life with Belinda Jensen and Lee Vospick. You know the drill. If you like a show at the network, please subscribe at your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of different things on this show. We do try to emphasize women's sports and strong women in sports whenever we can. This is another great example of that. And one of the strongest women we know is our Vice President of Business Development, Tammy Henderson, who's done a great job with this show and the network. If you know somebody who wants to sponsor this show or advertise with anybody at talknorth.com, reach out to Tammy at thenderson@talknorth.com. Thanks to Minnesota Masonic Charities, Lucy Nicotine Pouches, the Minnesota Twins, and Citizens Independence Bank. And now back to Dawn.
All right. Well, Jim, thank you so much. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Kate Jonas. Kate is an Annandale native and tearing it up on the courts. And now, Kate, thank you so much for joining us. I love that you're still in college. You've already had some coaching experience, but now you get into this USTA coaching program called Serving All Aspiring Coaches, kind of in association with WeCoach program that helps women find their footing that way. First of all, congratulations on getting in such a prestigious program, and to still know that you have a year left of college. That's quite a feat. Congrats to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
When you found out, what were your feelings?
Yeah, I was really excited. I honestly didn't really know exactly what I was getting myself into. My college coach sent it to me and said, you should do this. And I was like already applying as like, I read the first sentence and I was so excited. I was like, yes, this is me. And so when I checked my email and I actually got it, I was so excited. I was super excited to tell my coach that I did it. I was just pumped.
So let's back up for people listening, because I know earlier we had a guest on our show, Jamie Gard Chapman, who also has her own the Gard Academy, where she trains people in many different capacities, and she's also a tennis coach, and she coaches at Edina. And when you hear this, that there's a program that wants to help young women to become professional coaches, but we're going to train you. Like, it's 8 months. Is that right? And then at the end, after this 8 months, then you go to Orlando. Tell us more about this program and how exciting it is.
Yeah. It's a 8-month, 9-month long thing. And we do these virtual meetings once a month, and we kind of connect as a big group over Zoom. And then they give us a membership to USTA. So we're doing these little online training things through USTA and the membership. And then in December, we all go to USTA together, and it's like a convention kind of where we get to meet in person and get to network together and learn together.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. And I'm loving it that your coach was the one that said, hey, I think you should do this. It's almost like passing the baton and down like that. How has tennis been for you at UW Superior? I know that you also coach at high school there too, don't you?
I do.
Tell us about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I love Superior. Love the Duluth Superior area. I could not see myself anywhere else. I actually have a coaching minor. So I went into college with a physical education major and coaching minor. So then for the coaching minor, I needed like 70 hours of observation hours. So I reached out to the high school coach, Mark Winkle, and I said, hey, can I just feed balls? Like, I just want to be a fly on the wall. Like, and then he said, of course. And like a few months later, he reached out again and was like, actually, we're hiring an assistant. Like, would you be interested in taking a bigger role? And I was a little nervous because I have my own season during the fall. So I was like, well, I don't know if I'll have the time. But I did it and loved it. It was a little hard, and my college coach gave me a lot of grace. CJ, he was very patient with me because I missed a little bit, but it was super fun to have my own team and kind of take a bigger role as a coach with the high schoolers.
What did you learn about yourself? I mean, first of all, every athlete has to know time management, right? But like you said, you had the stress that you also were on a team in college, but you also had a team. What did it reveal about yourself during this time?
Yeah. I think that I learned that I can handle a little bit more on my plate. And I like being busy, and I like tennis, and it kind of fills my bucket up that even though I'm on court for 5+ hours a day, I loved it. And it felt like an hour. And that I just love being a part of a team. I learned that even though tennis is not necessarily a team sport, I love the team aspect of being, either if I'm a player or a coach, I love being a part of it.
When I've talked to some professional players, they say that's the hardest part because growing up, whether they played in high school or if they went to like one of the academies early on, it was a different story. But, the team aspect is such an important mental part and, an emotional part as well, because, once you get up to the pro ranks, sometimes as like, especially if you're a singles and not a doubles, it could be lonely. But when you coach these younger and I don't know if it's boys and girls, but whenever you coach the younger players, what's your approach? What do you say to them about, being a good teammate, even if they're a singles player?
Yeah. I talk a lot about just like being there for each other. My biggest thing for the high schoolers was, like, if you're at the match, you're at the match. Like, let's cheer on our teammates. Like, nothing is better when some of your teammates sit on your court and they're watching, because not everybody can play at the same time. Right. So I said, like, if you're not playing, like, you better be cheering for your teammates, and you better be present at the match. I really emphasized being like, on the doubles court, like, no matter who you play with, like, you got to work with them. In high school, my coach told me that too. Like, he was like, Kate, like, I'm going to put you with people that you normally wouldn't play with, but you got to learn to play with them. And so when girls would come up to me and be like, I want to play with so-and-so, I was like, I'm going to put you with this girl instead. And you got to learn how to play with her, and you got to be a good teammate, and you got to cheer her on, and you got to help her. Like, that's just part of tennis.
More with Kate here in a second. We do want to thank Aquarius Home Services. Thanks also to the Minnesota Twins, who we're talking here on trade deadline day, are still making moves. Check them out.
Here is where it all starts. Here's where pages are turned and new legends are written. Here's where kids become lifelong fans and lifelong fans become kids. Here's where sunsets last longer, happy hour tastes better, and summer hits its stride. And when all of Twins territory stands together and believes hard enough, well, there's no place like here. Get your tickets at twins.com.
And thanks to Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
Back to Dawn and Kate.
Kate, you brought up something when you're talking about, when you just throw people together and they got to figure it out. That's such a bigger life lesson, right? Because,
Yes.
but especially so in tennis, it can be such a heady game. Like, it's
Mhm.
like a psychology lesson. Have you found that when you do that to your athletes, it also helps them that way? Because, they have to figure out how to get along with this person.
Mhm. Yeah. I for sure learned it when I was in high school because, yeah, you play with so many different girls and they have different, like, their mind works differently than your mind, and you might be more competitive than them. I hope that my girls are getting that out of when I mix them up and when I challenge them with something else. I think, especially with the varsity crew, I got to work with them a lot, and I'm a doubles player. I love doubles, so I got to work with all the doubles pairings, and I would challenge them. I would say like, hey, let's do a different formation, and I think that like frustrated them, right? Like that made them mad because it didn't work right away. And I was like, you got to keep doing it. Like you got kind of have to keep pushing them. And then eventually it worked. And then I can kind of be like, see, like, even though if it doesn't
Mhm.
work the first time, we can keep going and hopefully it'll work.
So now you've got all these skills that you already have, and you can use that to your advantage when you hop into this program. So I know with WeCoach, they're really well skilled about giving people not only the opportunity to do it, but just the framework. So how excited are you, and what have they told you what to expect from this?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm like all ears. I want to learn it all because I do still feel like I need to learn a lot about coaching. Uh, they kind of our first meeting talked a lot about just like building your tool belt of coaching and the part of all like the little things that you normally wouldn't think about. Our last meeting, they talked about our resume and just building our resume, which would be huge for me because I don't really know what colleges are looking for. And then they said just meeting other coaches and hearing their stories and how they got into their job and advice on like getting your master's or doing an internship or being an assistant and then working your way up to a head coach. So they talked a lot about that. I don't know what is yet to come through the next meetings. But I'm excited because I think the past two meetings have been great and really cool to hear from these awesome female coaches.
So here's a strange question. How, as like coaching your younger girls, being already part of this, how has it already helped you become a better tennis player? And how so?
Yeah, I think I definitely catch myself on the court if I'm negative, trying not to be as negative because I see that with my high schoolers, how if their body language gets down or they get frustrated, I can tell. And I'm like, girl, like that's hurting you more than it's helping, you know? And so then the second I catch myself, I know I gotta, fix my body language, fix my attitude on the court because it's only hurting me. Negative energy is not good to have. So that definitely has helped me on the court. I don't know about skill wise. I think really it's just in my head wise, the mental part of tennis.
Well, that's huge. Like I'm saying, out of so many sports, right? Especially, let's say, if you have to work with a doubles partner and then you're against two other people, right? So you already have the head game of the game,
Mhm.
and then you have
Mhm.
to work with someone else. And like you said, getting out of your own head 9 times out of 10 for any athlete is so huge. And I love that you're already realizing that in yourself. Do you see
Yeah.
sometimes like your younger self in some of the girls that you're coaching?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have so many girls, which they're competitive and I love them all, but they get negative and they get frustrated. And I like wish I could go back to my high school self or even my like freshman year in college self and be like, this is not like we gotta fix something. Like you gotta be
Right.
more positive. You gotta change that negative energy into a different energy.
So for like people who are listening that may not have played tennis, when you
Mhm.
say I'm thinking negative, take us through like what that conversation in your brain, what you might
Mhm.
be negative about.
Yeah, just every little mistake, like, and tennis players, like, we're a little weird. We talk to ourselves out loud because if you're a singles player, like, you might turn to the curtain or the fence and be like, "Why did you do that? That was such a bad shot." Like, um, hit to her backhand, not her forehand, like just, and like I would say that out loud, and then I'd like catch myself, be like, okay, well, we gotta calm down a little bit. Like, it's okay, we can get the next one, and then we have to do a little 180 and kind of regroup. I would say, yeah, tennis players we're a little funky. We talk out loud. My sister is not a tennis player, and she came to a match and was like, why are you guys talking to yourselves? Like, it does help if it's positive. If it's negative, not so much.
Well, it reminds me of a story where I was playing soccer when I was growing up, and I would get mad if the ref missed something, like if a girl cheap shotted me or, did something wrong and they didn't catch it. And I would get so mad. And my mom, who never played soccer, would be like, after the game, she's like, why do you let that girl get in your head? Because every time the ref didn't catch something and you got mad at this girl, you would go on and make 2 more mistakes. And I'm like, you don't understand, Mom. Like, you don't play, And she'd be like, well, just humor me. I go, what am I supposed to do? She goes, why don't you laugh at her? I go, what do you mean? Like, I don't mean like in her face obnoxious, but just laugh. Like, she's trying to get in your head. So let her think you're not. Like, just go, huh? Just smile. Like, you don't have to laugh, but just smile. Like, and I go, that's stupid. But she goes, humor me. And you know what? She was right. And that lesson has carried me even into being on television, because inevitably you're on live TV, you're going to mess up, trip over a sentence, mispronounce something, like, how to say it. And one day it just comes out wrong. You might be wanting to say Cadillac and it comes out as, cataract. And then you don't want people listening to you to feel uncomfortable, right? So normally when you have a conversation, you say cataract, I mean Cadillac, you just keep going and people don't feel uncomfortable. But if they see you kind of implode, or like in your head, stupid, why did you say, then you want to make 2 more mistakes. So I think what you were saying too is that bigger thing, like, especially don't do that. Like, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? If that negative self-talk can really affect you in that moment. So just when you were younger, you probably had no idea how big the mental aspect to go along. You figure if I can power through or like get my backhand going or get my serve better, but it all comes together, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like tennis, it's like, we don't have refs, we don't have judges, we don't have, so when one girl makes a bad call, I think the biggest thing, the biggest thing that I've taught my girls, if a girl makes a bad call, you gotta have to move on. You can't let that get to you, because bad calls happen.
Thanks, and welcome also to Citizens Independent Bank.
Women's sports don't grow because of one moment. They grow because people keep showing up. The fans, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the local businesses investing in their communities and believing in what's possible. At Citizens Independent Bank, they believe that same local connection is what helps people reach their goals, with financial solutions built around relationships, not transactions. Citizens Independent Bank, unlock the power. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And now another really good segment with Kate and Dawn.
Well, Kate, I wanted to ask you, when you hear about this USTA program, they're like serving all aspiring coaches, we're willing to do this. Some people, maybe even some of your other coaches, be like, listen, this is a huge opportunity. We just talked about the whole mental aspect of it, and I'm sure they help you with that. But just to know for you personally that now you have like a pathway to a career. It's so hard when you're going into your senior year in college, right? Like, what am I going to do? Pretty soon I'm going to be out in the real world. How helpful for you going into your last year in school, knowing now I've got something that can help me on that path?
It's really big. I feeling all those feels of like, what am I going to do next year? Where am I going to be at? Because usually everything is just like, you got another year of school, and now I don't really have that. It's like, this is it. I'm excited, but I know it's not like permanent. Like, it's not like it's guaranteeing me something in the future. So I still want to like keep building up my resume, keep building like my connections and my networking, and keep learning. I just want to get a ton of experience is right kind of where I'm at right now. I hope that this can connect me to a job, but you never know. But it is an awesome feeling, and that I can say that I did this and I was a part of this, and I'm gaining all experience through all these women that are helping me.
Well, you know, why I love doing this podcast, and I always say I want to help support strong women, and I support the men who support women. You know, like you said, your coach CJ, you know, like was the one that said, "Hey, let's do this. You need to get into this program." You have to give yourself a little bit of kudos for being one of just 30 to be able to get into this program. Have you taken time to acknowledge that for yourself?
Yeah, again, when I found that out, I was shocked. I was
Mm.
like, I could not believe that. And then I looked at like all of the other women that are a part of this with me, and they're all from all over the place. Like I think there was one girl from South Africa maybe, and I was like, wow, like that is just
Wow.
awesome. It's like I'm the only kind of Midwestern. I think there was maybe one girl from Illinois. So even in the region too, like I had no idea how big this was. So
Hmm.
I did kind of have to take a minute and be like, wow, this is really awesome.
How did you first get into tennis? Were you playing in Annandale, like a town thing, or how did you get in?
Yeah, I do not come from a tennis family. My sister played college volleyball, actually. And so growing up, I wanted to follow in her footsteps and be just like her, as little sisters do.
Mhm.
And my elementary phy ed teacher ran the summer like youth camps. And so I did those, and those were always really fun. And then seventh grade rolls around, and that's when like the competitive tennis team starts. And I was like, I'm just going to join on a whim. Like, I'll probably hate it, but we'll see. And I joined it, immediately loved it, didn't think about volleyball ever again. Loved the team. I loved that it wasn't like, it kind of was more just, it was fun. It was really refreshing. I played three sports growing up. I played basketball and softball. And so tennis was just something fun and refreshing. And I always looked forward to it. So then I realized that I should probably stick with this and get good at this. And high school rolled around, and I was like, maybe I want to do this afterwards. And the rest is history. I've always loved it.
Oh, that's great. And then that's when is that how you decided to go to Superior for
Yeah, I
coaching
was
tennis?
yeah, I was looking around at some other schools. Like nobody was recruiting me. I kind of didn't think I was good enough to play. And so there was a moment where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna play. Like I was a little on the fence. And I actually went to Superior, not on an athletic visit, just on a regular visit. And the track coach stopped me because I was wearing a track sweatshirt, I think. And he was like, "Do you do track?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Would you play a sport?" I was like, "Maybe tennis," because I was like, "I don't know." And he gave me CJ's phone number, and I emailed CJ like the next day, and CJ emailed me the same day, and he was like, "I like you should come to Spirit," and I was like, I think I want to," and I really liked CJ. His vibe was so awesome, so I that's kind of how I got stuck in Spirit.
You know, I want everyone who's listening to, while we were talking, I don't know if you noticed, you were saying, you know, I thought I would hate tennis, and then I ended up liking it. Then you also said, yeah, I thought I wasn't good enough to play, and then you were. Has that taught, and everyone who's listening, you a lesson, and it should teach people a lesson to, again, that negative self-talk, right? Like, how about like, hey, let's see where I can go, or I'll just give it a whirl rather than, oh, I think I'm going to hate it and then like it, right? Like you've learned to overcome that.
Yeah, I know. And I still like have that in my head. I don't know how to get it out, but like I didn't think I was going to be like a good enough coach. I thought like I'm not going to be able to coach at any kind of level. I told my coach like my dream job would be to coach tennis, and he was like, "Kate, you should do that. Like you could do that. That's like not a dream job. That's like you attainable." And yeah, I don't know. It is a really like girls need to be playing college sports. Like I think a lot of girls are like me, and they're like, "Oh, I don't think I'm good enough." It's like, no, you are. Like you could definitely find a team, and if you work hard, you'll get that to that level and that skill level.
So if you're talking to, say, a girl that's maybe entering high school or in high school and looking at colleges right now, a female athlete, what would the number one thing you want them to know other than that is to know that they're good enough? But what would you say? What do you say to your players now?
Yeah, just keep working hard, and you have a space wherever whatever you do, whatever you decide to do, you have a space, and don't let I don't know, the drama or any guy tell you that you're not good enough or whatever. Just like you have a space. If it's in whatever kind of field it is, if it's science, if it's math, if it's history, sports, there's a space for women, and we can be awesome at it and we can do great things.
Well, Kate, I am so happy for you. And I also love the fact that not only are you good enough to play in college, you're good enough to coach high school while you're in college. And I'm looking forward to when, not if, you get your first pro coaching gig. And I'm sure you'll probably figure out a way to do that and coach some high school kids too along the way. I think you'll be so busy you're going to have to cut back somewhere.
Maybe, yeah. Thanks.
Your face
Really,
like, oh, I don't know if I can do both.
No, I do overcommit myself. Even this summer, I was coaching clinics, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But I love it, and it's fun.
Well, Kate Jonas, thanks for joining us. I'm wishing you, first of all, the best senior year of college ever. I just got back from a wedding weekend, and it was all of my friends from college. And we're still connected to this day. And your senior year coming up is going to be amazing. But I also think as you continue through this program with USTA that it's going to bring you everything that you want. And so you're the epitome of what we want on this show, like strong women who are willing to reach back and help other women and kind of lift them up. So just on so many different levels, I was so happy that you said that you'd come on the show. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was so much fun being here, and thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and have fun in Orlando when you go down there, because that person to person, that's going to be something.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I like being in person and talking to people. So Zoom is not my favorite, but it'll do for the 9 months.
Oh, you're Zooming with us here. Perfect. So
I know. Yeah, I know. I know. It's not ideal, but it helps. It gets the job done.
All right. Well, keep us posted too. And if you get that first pro job after you graduate, you have to let us know.
I will.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you.